Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the weekly Tottenham News Review, where I'll be going through the main stories, news, rumours and reports making the headlines over the last 7 days. My name is Lee The Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's get into it. A lot can happen in 7 days, can't it? And let's start off by talking about Tottenham Hotspur reaching agreement with Atletico Madrid for the transfer of Romero. So that was the first big story of the weekend, last weekend. We knew it was coming. It felt like it's been coming forever. The links to Atletico Madrid go back way back. The Argentina connection and so on and so forth. This wasn't met with any kind of real problem from Tottenham fans. Most people accepted that we needed to let him go, that his heart wasn't really at Tottenham. He'd burnt a lot of bridges in terms of how he had come across at the end of the season, where he went back to Argentina and so on and so forth. Then the Falklands thing probably didn't do him any favours either. But you do have to remember that he was part of that Europa League winning team. He was man of the match on the day and was very important to us over the last 5 years. He is a fantastic footballer. He has very good abilities and so on. But overall, it probably for the best. It's probably run its time. Now, Romero did put out his own statement as well. So today I say goodbye to a place that for 5 seasons was much more than a club. It was my home, my challenge, the place where my family and I built such an important part of our lives. I leave with a full heart full of memories and enormous pride for everything we lived and achieved together. When I arrived, I had a clear dream to leave my name in the club's history. I knew the only way through hard work, sacrifice and achieving something that had seemed so difficult for so long, lifting a trophy again. And we did it. The journey wasn't perfect, but I don't want that to define my goodbye. I choose to remember the happy moments, the lessons, the people who stood by me, and above all, the love I received during those 5 years. Thank you to everyone at the club who shared my journey with me, coaches, teammates, staff, and every person working behind the scenes. You're all part of my story and have a place in my heart. And to the fans, thank you for loving me, respecting me, and making me feel like one of you from day one. Thank you for every hug, every song, every flag, every applause, and for always being there. I know I wasn't perfect, but one thing gives me peace. I always gave everything. I defended this shirt with pride, with all my heart. Thank you for everything. I'm leaving the club, but a part of my heart will always remain here. So I actually really like that message. I think it was a really nice message. Really heartfelt, and I think he acknowledges that he wasn't perfect and that everything didn't really go the way it should have done, and towards the end he kind of made some mistakes. So I think that's big of him to be able to say that, and I think hopefully in time Tottenham fans will be able to let any kind of animosity go, and I think they do, generally speaking, in those times. So it's a fair play to him, and good luck for the future. But that was probably the first big story of the weekend, followed swiftly afterwards by Ashley Phillips. Not such a big story, but Ashley Phillips moved to Middlesbrough. Again, the big story around that is probably the fee, £7 million, plus 13 million in add-ons, depending on how things go. So some future money coming in. We've got matching rights. We've got a sell-on clause and so on. So yeah, pretty good from that point of view. And then to make it an even more interesting time, we also said goodbye to Jed Spence, who has gone off to Inter Milan. Again, another low fee, but we expect that, don't we? When you're paying, moving players outside the Premier League, financially it makes a big difference because it's not really to the same level as the Premier League. So yeah, it was one of those that was expected, and not really one we wanted. And his versatility across the back line really important. But players come, players go. The only thing constant is the fans. And Jed Spence again put out a nice message. A special chapter comes to an end. It's been some journey with plenty of memories, moments, and experiences that I'll carry with me forever, especially that night in Bilbao. Thanks to all the staff members who helped me along the way, the players who've become family, and most importantly, thank you to the fans. Time for a new chapter now, but Spurs will always have a place in my heart. Come on, you Spurs. So we had a hat trick of departures over the weekend, but we also had a couple of games. So first off, we played Hoffenheim at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, winning 3-0, a brace from Mikey Moore. So really, really good performance overall. Roberto De Zerbi said after that performance, it was a good performance, a good day, because we needed to increase and to improve the physical condition. For that, we decided to play 75 minutes for every player. And tomorrow we play again against Hoffenheim at Hotspur Way, 12 noon, with the players who didn't play today. We suffered in the first half without the ball because the style of Hoffenheim is clear, it's different, it's a particular style. They move, make a lot of rotation. In the second half, we defended better with the ball. I think we played well, built up well, created many chances. It was a challenge playing against a team who plays with this style of play. When you prepare for the game, you have to have the reference, the player in a specific position. If the opponent moves, they go around the pitch. They put many players over the line of the ball. If you regain the ball, you can go to score, because in the first half, we had Matisse Tell, Lucas Bergvall, Conor Gallagher. In the second half, we had 2 chances and could score. It was a good day. So he was pretty happy with that. It made sense in terms of the rotation of players, having so many players in for that game, and then again playing in the second game on the next day. Matisse Tell was asked on the difference in pre-season compared to last season, and he said, I would say the energy has been the big difference. Last year we missed this energy, and now we can feel it on the pitch. The manager is behind us, always with us. We can see on the pitch, off the pitch, we are together. I'm very happy and excited about the new season. And I think that every player kind of has been talking about De Zerbi with high praise. And I think it really, really does make a difference. You can see in the attitude of players and everything, I guess the promises of, if you keep us up, I'll let you go if you want to go, and so on. If you want to stay, I'll keep you to stay, and so on. And I think he's keeping to those promises. And I think that makes such a difference. Being an ex-man manager myself, I know that if you tell someone you're going to do something, you have to do it. You have to deliver. And so he's obviously made promises to players like Spence and players like Romero, that if they want to go, they can go, but they have to make sure that Tottenham stay in the Premier League. If they don't, they're staying and getting us out of it. And so I think that was the motivation there. But I personally think it was a good tactic for sure. So the next day, Tottenham played Hoffenheim again. It ended 2-2. Lucas William Barnett makes it 2-1 after great work from Sarr. Ben Davies then makes it 1-1. Ben Davies made it 1-1, and then obviously Lucas Williams Barnett made it 2-1. Roberto De Zerbi said, we decided to play 75 minutes for each player on Saturday, and we play again with the players who didn't play on Saturday. So again, it was a very different team, a big change to the team. Players like Maddison and Fernandez got minutes on the pitch as well, which was good to see. So yeah, we kind of moved on and gave that a bit of a go. But yeah, a different game, lots of young players playing in that. It was all about getting the minutes in the legs rather than the result, for sure. So yeah, we remained unbeaten across the whole of pre-season, which is always nice, because you get into that not losing habit or the winning habit and so on. So it was good. It was good to see that and get that across the line. So yeah, really really good to see that, and some good work from Lucas Williams-Barnett, who's had a great pre-season as well. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Personally, I think he's going out on loan, obviously, to get some more minutes, or unless he just kind of stays with the under 21s. He is still a very young man and stuff. But Mikey Moore as well had a decent preseason. Maybe he fights his way into the squad. There had been talk about him going to Germany, but that hasn't materialised. So maybe he stays behind. All depends on the players we're still yet to bring in. I would guess. So moving on in this week, we also heard from Spurs former manager and star Chris Hughton on his health. He said, "I'm a year, 3-4 months post-operation. All's going well. I keep busy. I've still got a lot of energy. So yes, I'm really good. Excellent." So that was good to hear about that. Obviously, none of us want to see our ex-players and ex-legends suffering or being ill and so on. So good news to see Chris Hughton doing really, really well and coming back. He looked really, really good. A lot of the legends were at Hotspur Way during the week, met up with current players and so on, and were kind of honoured in that way to spend some time, watch some training and talk to the players, have lunch with them and everything. I thought that was really, really nice. And pleasing to see, to keep those people involved and letting the new players know what it means to play for this fantastic football club. So yeah, I was all for that, and as I say, great to see Chris Hughton doing so well on his health as well. It was announced as well this week the Premier League broadcast section process for October has now been completed, with all 4 of our fixtures changing for live television coverage. Our away trip to Manchester United on Saturday the 10th will now kick off at 5:30. While the subsequent home game against Coventry has been moved to Monday and the 19th of October, 8 p.m. And then both our London derbies away to Chelsea on the 24th and our home clash with Crystal Palace the following week have a later kick-off time of 5:30. They desperately need us, don't they? They desperately need us in the Premier League. The TV need us. They want us. They know that we are a massive football club, and they know that they need that kind of pull. I guess they're all hoping, is it going to go really, really well, or is it going to go really, really poor? Because either way, the narrative works for them. So yeah, all these games moved. It's not great for the match going football fan, is it? Constantly moving and stuff. Especially moving to a Monday night, 8 o'clock on a Monday night. Oh, it's an absolute pain, especially if you've got a job and you've got to work. Luckily for me, I'm now retired, so it's all good for me. 5:30 in the afternoons is not a bad time, I guess, for kickoffs, because you'll know what everybody else has done as well. So, that's not the worst, I guess. It's just a later time getting home, especially if you're travelling all the way back to Dorset. So, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Jamie Carragher this week on Sky Sports was talking about Tottenham and the upcoming season. There's a real opportunity for Spurs and Chelsea without European football next season to make a real fist of it. There's a lot of questions about Manchester United playing more European games, Iriola coming in as well at Liverpool, and Unai Emery and Aston Villa losing a lot of their best players in the Champions League as well. So there's a real opportunity for Spurs and Chelsea to get into those Champions League positions this season. Do you think the business that Tottenham have done and the money they have spent, it's a little bit eye-opening, especially Tonali's fee? You think like £100 million. Do you think that comes from the power of De Zerbi had and the hold he's got on the club? In terms of, he wasn't sure about coming in. They gave him a really big contract. If I stay, I want this, this, and this, or I'm going. It's almost like they've had to give him what he wants. Now, listen, I'm all for it. I've said for a long time, we need stability in the club. We need clear direction. We need to stick with it. We need the board to stick with it. We need the players to stick with it. We need the fans to stick with it through thick and thin until we get to where we want to get to. De Zerbi seems like he's the right guy at the moment. He kept us up. He's doing all the right things. He's demanding the right things. All the players that are coming in are all referencing him as part of the reason. So I'm all for it. I'm all in it. And I do agree with Carragher for once. I think if Aston Villa are losing a lot of players, They're in the Champions League. They've got a lot of work to do in terms of replacing those. Same for Newcastle. Manchester City have got a new manager. They've lost a lot of players. They're losing others. Is that going to work for them? Is that going to gel as easily as they like it to? I personally think that Maresca will get the sack. He'll be one of the first ones out in this season. I really can't see it working. I think they'll want a massive name in there to keep the draw coming. It's all well and good having the money, but they want to be competing and seeing the best players go in there. So I'm not sure about that one. Iriardo going to Liverpool, first opportunity to really get involved in a massive club, and Liverpool is a massive club. So I think he may well struggle there. I like him. I think he's a good manager. I think he's got a lot to offer. But we also saw how that's kind of worked out for them before when they go for someone like that. So let's see. But I do like Jamie Carragher's comments there. I think it's the right thing to talk about. I don't really want to talk too much about transfers at the moment because it changes every 2 minutes. But one of the stories that did start coming out this week was Cody Gakpo. So the Athletic reported the situation with Cody Gakpo has not yet developed. While Tottenham Hotspur remain interested and have spoken to the player's representative, there has been no formal negotiation between the clubs, and Liverpool maintain that a Dutch striker, a Dutch attacking midfielder who has 4 years left on his contract is not for sale. The interesting thing that's developed about that story is that obviously there is a domino effect depending on some of this stuff, because Liverpool are in for Bradley Barcola and Mbaye from PSG. So if they get those in, does that open the door? There's no smoke without fire, is there? Sometimes these things happen. So let's keep an eye on that one. I'm not convinced that that's going to happen in this window, but you never know. The way Spurs are working, you could just see it happening, couldn't you? Tottenham are doing massive business. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. We have signed West Ham midfielder Isaac Allen, beating off interest from several clubs to land England's under-15 captain, according to Football Insider. So we are still looking for those little gems and look for the future and building up from that. We've sold a lot of our younger players, kind of on the fringe players and stuff, made a lot of money for those as well, which is kind of all coming. I think we've ended up with something like £100 million coming back in without really affecting the first team, if you don't include probably Spence, in my view, because he's the one who's yet to be replaced in that area. I'm still concerned that we haven't got a right back cover for Pedro Porro, who's played so much football. Is he going to be able to keep going without an injury? I don't know. And then it does mean that Archie Gray probably slots in there. And my question is that his best position? I don't know. We'll just have to kind of see how that pans out for sure. Well, in this week as well as the three departures I've already talked about, we also lost Guillermo Vicario. Again, not a surprise. We was expecting it, wasn't we? We thought that was going to happen. It's been bandied around that he's going back to Italy for a while. Kinski's been installed as number one. We've signed Dubravka as well as his backup. So it kind of all made sense. So he sent out his message. So, dear Spurs fans, where do I even start? Thank you is the first word that comes to mind. You made me feel welcome from the moment I arrived. Playing in the Premier League for a huge club has always been a dream, and for this reason, Tottenham will forever have a special place in my heart and in my memories. A big thank you to the club, all the staff, all the teammates I played with in these years. Winning the Europa League together and seeing the joy we gave our fans is a memory that will never fade, and something that we'll be forever proud of. Good luck for what seems like a very exciting season ahead. And one more time, thank you. So even he can see that it's going to be an exciting season, even without even being part of it, which in my view is really good news. I was really pleased to see that. So I'm all over that. As I say, he's moved on. I don't think he was a bad guy. Great shot stopper, but terrible distribution, and it just wasn't going in the right direction for him in the end, was it? So, yeah, time to move on. Got a very little fee for him. It's a loan with not an obligation, an option. The option is something like 10 million euros. But the club's moving in different ways now. Now, as far as they're concerned, if you don't need you or you don't want to be here, we're moving you on. Even if the club takes a loss, we're moving you on because that's what we need to do. That's what big clubs do. They don't stand on ceremony. They don't have the nostalgia button that we have, and they move on very, very quickly. So, again, I'm all for that. Let's kind of see how things move on now with Kinski. There are people yet to be convinced by him, but I think he did really, really well in those games that De Zerbi came in, and I think he's got a lot to offer. Still a young keeper, so plenty of years in him to really get better. And having Dubravka next to him, learning from him and developing with him seems like the right thing to do. So all good news from that point of view. The final thing for this week, and I know I've rambled on an awful lot, so apologies for going on so much, but there's been an awful lot happen. Savinho, we have this morning here we go, from Fabrizio Romano, talking about this one is done. But linked to that, we also are hearing that Omar Mamouche is part of a double deal. Now, the Savinho one has kind of been going on for so long that everyone's really kind of a bit bored of it now and thinking, well, if it happens, it happens. You know, we're not really excited about it. It's been banging on for forever and a day. But if he comes, great. It's another addition on the left-hand side. Frees up Tell to move to the right if we need him. He'll still get plenty of football in my view. And I do think he's had a great pre-season, by the way. I've still got faith that he's going to get even better. Gakpo is still in there, as I've said earlier, so we've still got to see what happens about that. But this idea of Mamouche and Savinho deal being tied together for financial reasons seems more and more likely that these deals are going to go over. So could it be Savinho today? Could it be Mamouche as well today? Could it be Mamouche tomorrow or Monday? But yeah, it really looks like we are finally finishing off the transfer window with some forwards as well, which would kind of bring us up to what, eight players in, which is massive. But this is a massive window for us because it's been so long. If you go all the way back to when we went to seasons without signing any players, 3 windows or something, that set us back years, in my view. You cannot sit on your laurels. You have to keep changing. We were so far behind that this sort of rebuild was always going to have to happen at some point. People are saying we're overpaying and so on, and I think we probably are. But if you look at the window and the money being bandied around, Anderson, 117 million. Who was the other one? From Villa, 116 million. You know, so there's so much of it going on. You know, players are going for ridiculous money within the Premier League. So we're probably overpaying, but I think everyone's overpaying, if I'm honest. But we need these players. We need this rebuild. It has to happen at some point. It may as well happen now. Going forward, we don't need then to keep adding 8 players at a time. You can then add the 1s and the 2s that you need to keep strengthening. But we've fallen so far behind that this was always going to be needed. So the other one that was mentioned, if Savinho didn't work, was Pedro Neto. I can't see that happening. You know, Chelsea, are they going to sell us a player? I don't see that really happening. It's been a long time. Generally speaking, we used to sell them players, didn't we? When they weren't very good, they were like our second team. You know, all the players that we'd kind of finished with kind of ended up going in that direction. Not for a long time, obviously, but back in the day, if you're as old as me, you will remember it. So yeah, Cody Gakpo, again, like I've said, may well be another one. But I'm excited about the Mamouche one. I do like him. I think he's a good player, can play right across the front line, including striker. And I've still not given up. I know I shouldn't, but I've still not given up on Solanke. I do think there's something about him if he can stay fit. So we'll just have to see. There obviously is a little bit of talk around Richarlison going back to Everton. They're offering something like, I think 20 million. We want 40 million, so probably somewhere in the 30. He may well go. A player who I've really liked, Richarlison. I have to say, I like him as a person rather than as a player. I think he's scored some great goals, and he works hard, and he's a master of the dark arts. But if I see him fall over one more time and not get a free kick, then it'll be one too many. So yeah, so that kind of brings us up to date. I'm sure whilst I'm recording this, there'll be other updates to this story on Savinho. It could well have been announced by the time this goes out. So we'll just have to see, won't we? But listen, what a lot to get through. If you got through it, if you've watched right to the end, then thank you very, very much. I'm really chuffed that you did. Apologies for the length of it, but I can't do it in little spots at a time, I'm sure. So thanks for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe. It means the world. If you're listening on an audio platform, please follow and leave a review if you can. I'm Lee The Dorset Spur. Got my own channel, pushing ever closer to 3,000 subscribers, a measly 3,000 subscribers. If you watch my videos over there already, but don't subscribe, please do consider doing that. It won't cost you anything. If not, listen, it's not a problem. No worries at all. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.